a compilation of Luffy's adorable and bizarre behaviors. As the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, how could Luffy not have his own unique way of doing things? After all, he's the soul who managed to influence even Jinbe and Law. Just how many adorably incomprehensible traits does Luffy have? 1. Everything is edible. Luffy, being a foodie who eats wherever he goes, even possesses the extraordinary ability to eat while sleeping. He attempts to conquer many challenging foods. He'll try to bite directly into a treasure chest, and when nearly fainting from hunger, he'll consider eating his own sandals. From the iron-hard pumpkins of Skypiea to the dancing powder that Luffy deemed absolutely disgusting, there are very few foods that Luffy has actually rejected. Beyond these, there are devil fruits and the cherry pies from Mocktown. Of course, Luffy's appetite isn't limited to strange foods. He'll even try to eat people, like swallowing Wapol whole like a banana. Crocodile never imagined that when this kid couldn't beat him, he'd try to eat him instead. When eating Cracker's biscuits, he ate them while fighting, and even packed the leftovers to go, driving Cracker to despair. Sometimes eating even saves Luffy's life, like when he ate mochi after consuming biscuits. If it weren't for Luffy's ability to eat, he wouldn't have won that fight. While Luffy truly has nothing to eat when hungry, Whole Cake Island was the only place that made him cry from eating. When extremely hungry, Luffy doesn't discriminate between friend and foe, sweeping up everything edible like a vacuum cleaner, including their emergency food supply, Chopper. Though Luffy will eat almost anything, watching him eat somehow actually stimulates others' appetites. Second, peculiar logic. Luffy's thought process is usually bizarre, with perspectives that catch people off guard. His understanding of Marines was revealed on Long Ring Longland, where he frantically warned civilians, "Don't listen to Aokiji's nonsense. He's a Marine." Only to realize later that he was the bad guy in that situation. His understanding of attractive people is unique. You rarely hear Luffy describe anyone as handsome or beautiful. But what kind of person can impress Luffy? Uncle Genzo from Kokoyashi Village completely amazed Luffy because he thought the pinwheel on his head was cool. In Logue Town, his description of Alvida was the only time he ever called someone beautiful. No one else has received such treatment. Perhaps this is the terrifying power of the slip-slip fruit? As for his understanding of pants pockets, to Luffy, they're incredibly convenient storage spaces. He can casually pull out an octopus balloon, which ended up saving the entire crew. When the women of Amazon Lily were curious about his pouch, Luffy calmly asked if they didn't have one. A very good question indeed. His understanding of insults is equally amusing. When someone calls him an idiot, he retorts with, "You're the idiot, three-sword style." Clearly not understanding that three-sword style isn't an insult. Regarding allowance money to Luffy, it simply means asking Nami for money when he's broke. In Water 7, after spending 100 million berries on a party, he casually asked Nami for pocket money to go play. Luffy's research into bodily functions is peculiar. When meeting strange creatures, his first curiosity isn't about what they are, but whether they can poop. He's incredibly persistent about this question, maintaining this curiosity even after the 2-year time skip. Luffy's care for the elderly is unique too. On Thriller Bark, when a zombie crawled out of the ground, normally a terrifying sight, Luffy simply pushed the old man back down, saying, "You're badly injured, elderly sir. Please rest." Without understanding Luffy's thought process, it's hard to know what bizarre things he's thinking. Regarding his memory of Marco, Robin is the one who best understands Luffy's thought process. After everyone tried various hints to help Luffy remember Marco with no success, Robin simply said, "He looks like a pineapple," and Luffy immediately remembered. 3. Pouting when lying. Luffy has an adorable habit that makes him an honest liar. Whenever he lies, he pouts, making it obvious he's trying to deceive you. This habit dates back to his childhood, looking away, pursing his lips to one side, sweating slightly, and sometimes even whistling to cover up his completely obvious nervousness. As an adult, when Sanji suspects him of stealing food, Luffy's lying expression hasn't changed at all, adding hand gestures as if to say, "I'm trying so hard to act. How can you not believe me?" Only to be kicked flying by Sanji. In Wano, during an emergency encrypted conversation with Zoro, Luffy insistently claimed he was Luffy Taro. Luffy's lying ability is very limited. He can barely convince himself. Well, looking at his expression, it seems even he doesn't believe it. Fourth, leading the imitations. The Straw Hat crew has two mimicry masters, Luffy and Usopp, and this soul-stirring imitation game was started by Luffy. During the Rain Banquet intermission, his imitation of Sanji became the highlight. He grew bolder, doing his second imitation right in front of the original person, earning himself a beating. Fortunately, when he imitated Zoro, the swordsman wasn't around, or he would have faced a combined beating from both Sanji and Zoro. He uses Robin's abilities to imitate Chopper, and his own body's uniqueness to imitate Usopp. Luffy doesn't just accurately capture the characteristics of his supernova allies. Even back when fighting Arlong, he took time to imitate him. Later, his imitations of Sea Monkeys and Cloud Wolf were masterpieces, and in the mini-theater, he even imitated Crocodile. After imitating so many others, he started imitating himself, using flour to recreate how he looked when frozen by Aokiji. This was right after their confrontation. If he didn't die, he might as well play around. Luffy's mentality is truly something else. 5. Ultimate face blindness. Among the Straw Hats, Luffy and Chopper are the most gullible, but when it comes to face blindness, Luffy surpasses even Chopper. At least Chopper can distinguish between men and women, while Luffy mistaking Shirahoshi for Sanji is hardly surprising. Ever since being tricked by Splithead's sister, everyone knew how severe Luffy's face blindness was. Anyone with a long nose is Usopp to him. Yet when Sogeking stood before him, besides face blindness, his gullibility made missing out on recruiting Sogeking one of his biggest regrets. On Skypiea, he mistook a skeleton wearing clothes similar to Nami's for Nami herself. But after Brook joined, every skeleton became Brook to him. Most amusing was when he couldn't recognize Zoro and Sanji after 2 years apart, remarking how much they'd changed. It's clear Luffy identifies people by their characteristics, to the point where when Caesar changed his hairstyle and called himself Gastino, Luffy apologized for mistaking him for someone else. 6th, endless expression library. Luffy can be considered a walking expression library, with faces full of vitality. There's his pout, his confusion, his boredom, his shock, his blank stare, his disgust, and his reluctance. After his devil fruit awakening, surprisingly, it not only affects his food properties, but also his expressions. Indeed, Nika Luffy's expressions have become contagious. Who would have thought that one day, having vitality would literally apply to Luffy's expressions? Of course, as the soul of the Straw Hat Pirates, whether it's Luffy's cuteness or humor, anyone who spends a couple of days with him, be they lone wolves or fierce beasts, will be infected with his silly nature. This might be one of Luffy's unique and terrifying abilities. Luffy's quirky personality is what makes him such an unforgettable protagonist. Which of these adorable traits surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed exploring the charming side of the future Pirate King, don't forget to like and subscribe to Amy Chan for more One Piece content. Thanks for watching.